what's up, everybody? How's it going? Travis and Susie here from the Wolf Hunters, and we got a reaction video for you. We got this link over here. You see that link? You can find that link in the description box below the video. There's a blue link. If you click it, you pick it. You can request music, movie scenes, comedy skits, so forth. Today's video is brought to you by Gracchus Wainwright.
Gracchus Wainwright.
Bringing us what?
Business Dinner Etiquette by Gentleman's Gazette. Gracchus Wainwright says, "Howdy! It's your boy Gracchus here, closing another gap. I've been fixing to send y'all another Gentleman's Gazette video that teaches gentlemen to be more gentlemen-y.
Oh.
But this one applies to the ladies too. This here is a very helpful video to keep you from embarrassing yourself next time the boss invites you to his ranch for some barbecue. Y'all take care now."
Nice.
Now, interestingly enough,
Welcome back to the Gentleman's.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but I'm going to mention it now. I watched this one episode of this show about manners and the glance, and how some people don't know how to do the glance. Like when you like somebody or you're interested and you just glance at them really quickly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That some people
Some
people stare like creeps.
watching.
Or some people don't know why they don't get any attention from the people that they're attracted to.
But they don't notice the glance.
But it's because they don't glance or receive a glance or reciprocate a glance. And so, yeah, anyways. That has nothing to do with...
I think people have a harder time reading other people these days.
But that has nothing to do with dining etiquette. But at the same time, in the episode, they were talking about dining etiquette. So anyways, hit the like button and subscribe. I can't wait to hear about proper manners for dining with clients.
Welcome back to the Gentleman's Gazette. In today's video, we discuss business and client dinner etiquette, which is part of a
So this is the same guy that taught us about ties.
Yes.
series, with part 1 being table manners and part 2 being restaurant etiquette. Entertaining for business can be fraught with opportunities for...
Wait, can I just get started by saying, here's my advice for dinner etiquette. If you don't have money to tip, don't buy that soda or that extra cheesecake or whatever. Don't buy the cheesecake, tip the person, right? Yeah.
You should always tip the person something, even if they're a terrible waitress or waiter.
Things to go wrong. If you do everything right,
on top
no one really
of that,
notices it.
blessing
but if you get
them
it
on
wrong,
top of
you
the
screw up
typical
big time, and the deal may not happen.
Yeah, we don't want to screw
the goal
up big
is
time.
to keep others around you comfortable, not to draw any negative attention to yourself, so your personality and what you have to say can shine. Dining out can be so revealing of one's character that many companies make it part of their onboarding process before or when they hire you.
That's
it shows
smart.
how well you can maintain a
Wait,
conversation.
what? I missed it.
He said, going out to dinner can say so much about a person that a lot of businesses do it as an onboarding process. Like, before I officially hire you, let me take you out to dinner to see who you
really are.
Who you really are. How do you treat that wait staff?
Ooh.
How do you leave the table when you're finished? How do you do all these other things? Pay the bill. Slurp your soup. Let's see.
How well you fit in socially with your boss and your team, and how you can navigate basic etiquette. Now, a formal business dinner has different rules than a casual luncheon event or a meal with your boss. Of course, etiquettes can also be different in South America, the US, Europe,
depending on where you
Asia.
are means
It's
a lot.
always important to understand the culture.
Like
sloop slurping.
Did you mean to say soup slurping?
Yes.
Sloop slurping?
Yes.
Like in China, it's you want to slurp, but in America, you do not want to slurp.
Correct.
And I think in Italy, it's polite to burp. I think. not play
All the
America.
Italians are going to come after you. No, I don't know. No idea.
That's what I've heard.
You've been to
China. I've been there. I've experienced that.
Yeah.
You're in and what the local etiquette is.
At least the
where you
part
are,
that I was at.
Business lunch or dinner always has a host. If you go out with your superior, your boss chooses the restaurant as well as the time. If you're just going out with colleagues because you're hungry, there may not be a host necessarily. Unless, of course, you want to pick their brain, then you become the host and you invite them. The same is true vice versa. If someone wants to network with you,
you got to know who's the host.
Understand how you can help them, and they
that matters at the end there.
Then they become the host. In that case, just go along or answer their questions. If you are the host, on the other hand, do your homework and know who your guest is. There's no point in inviting a vegan to a steakhouse. Likewise, I'm from Germany and I have no interest in German restaurants in the US because I'm always disappointed. When you pick a restaurant, don't choose anything that's overly loud or crowded because after all, the main goal is to have a conversation. In the same vein, don't choose a restaurant that focuses on sloppy or difficult to eat foods. So don't go to the seafood boil or to the burger joint that is really greasy or to the ramen store where everything may splatter over your entire business outfit. It is essential to make a
But if you wanted to invite me to the seafood boil,
no, but he's saying it's a business dinner.
Yeah.
So that's why you
don't want to get sloppy. It gets sloppy. Butter.
Right.
Getting
your
all
fingers are all...
Yeah, you gotta wear
a bib. It's not adorable. Yeah. Or maybe you want to take someone there to see.
See how they handle this.
You should just put them under fire real quick. See if they use a fork and a knife to open their lobster.
Reservation, because nothing makes you look as unprofessional as having to wait for a table because you didn't take any precautions. Also, when you do make a reservation, you can ask for a quiet table so you can accomplish the mission you set out to accomplish. Now that you know 1. How to identify the host, and 2. How to choose a restaurant, 3. Make sure you put the reservation in your calendar and show up on time. If you're the host, arrive 10 to 15 minutes early so you can make sure you got the quiet table.
Early's on time. On time is late. Late is unacceptable.
You may also want to take the server aside and tell them that you're going to pay for the dinner or the lunch. 4. Where exactly should you sit? Obviously, there's a table, but especially with bigger parties, there can be large tables and specific hierarchies. It's easiest when you're the guest. Just wait until the host tells you where to sit. In case you're not offered a seat, wait until your host sits and put yourself in a position that allows for easy conversation. Now, if it's just a dinner between 2 people, it's much easier than if there are 20 people involved. That being said, sitting all across at the other end of the table would be wrong. Now, if you're the host and let's say you go out to a business lunch with a larger group of people of different companies, it pays to put someone from company A next to company B, followed by company A. That way people can talk and learn from each other. It's best to think about the specific seating arrangements before you get to the restaurant so you don't have a weird happening of people reseating themselves or moving chairs. In general, the person highest up on the food chain gets the best seat and so forth. So sometimes just the place where you sit at a table can indicate if you're a big shot or not. 5. A good host will always introduce new parties to each other. In a business setting, that means you mention their name as well as their position and what they do. If on top of that you happen to know more information about those 2 people, you can share that as well, which gives them a common conversation starting point. For example, you could say, Tom, this is Matt. He's our VP of sales and he graduated from Cornell with a degree in engineering. Of course, I'm not going to mention the engineering degree if the other person isn't an engineer. Maybe you can also think of hobbies and say, hey, he likes to play golf just like you. Now, sometimes at business dinners, you as a host may not know all the people in the other company. In that case...
So you're bringing people together.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want to make sure that you're not pitting them against each other. You're bringing them together. I like that he said, when you're the host, tell the wait staff that you're going to pay. But I also think as a guest, you always kind of offer at the end of the meal to take care of at least yourself. You know, anyway.
Senior person there will introduce their team, and so will you. Of course, if you're the guest, sometimes other people are not so well versed in etiquette and they may not introduce you to the others or vice versa. In that case, you should briefly introduce yourself. To learn more about introductions and how to do them properly, please check out this video here.
I will say this. I've learned that if someone doesn't introduce you right away, you should right away introduce yourself to everyone, because the longer you wait, the more awkward it gets. Like, you know, as time goes by, you don't want to just out of nowhere be like, "Oh, hi, I'm Travis," because then you're like, "Oh, that's weird." But like imagine, for example, like you're sitting on a plane. This is not at the table or whatever, and someone sits next to you, or you sit next to someone, and immediately that person says, "Oh, hi, I'm Travis." You'll say, "Oh, hi." You know, or if someone did that to you, that wouldn't be weird. But if you're on the plane, it's a 2-hour flight, and you're an hour in, and someone turns to you and just says, "Hi, I'm so-and-so," you'd be like, "Okay, what?" You know?
Yeah. But I mean, if we're specifically talking about business dinner etiquette, then there is a purpose here.
Yeah.
Usually of combining in some way a deal that's being made, a new hire that's being considered, some kind of there's some kind of goal or end to the dinner. So if you're not introduced, that would be like really, really weird and awkward. Yeah. Now we're going to talk about
more
dressing
about introductions
correctly.
and how to do them properly. Please check out this video here. 6. Dress appropriately. As a basic rule, to a business dinner or lunch, you should wear out the same things you wear to the office. Of course, if it's a more formal business dinner at a nice restaurant, you can dress up more, but in some cases, it's not advisable to dress better than your boss because you might get offended. On the other hand, if it's an important client meeting, you want to dress up from your usual standard. If the dress code is business casual, please check out this video. If it's more formal, check out the business attire dress code here. Of course, it also depends on the niche. If you're meeting with someone who works on a construction site all day, you'll be dressed differently than if you meet with someone who works at a law firm all day. 7. Don't show up ravenous, and don't try to eat as much food as you can if someone else pays for you. Of course, hunger can get the best of anyone, so if you know you're hungry and you have to talk a lot, maybe eat something in advance. Also, if you go out with your boss and you order a gigantic steak during the middle of the day that puts you in a food coma afterwards, he knows that you're not going to be your most effective that day. 8. Turn off your phone and keep it in your pocket. It's a sign of respect to fully focus on the person in front of you, and if you just check text messages or take calls, the other person thinks they're not important enough for your full attention. 9. Greet everyone involved with a handshake and smile. Yes, everyone, not just the boss or higher-ups, but everyone from the top all the way down. It's very important that you stand up when you're doing it, otherwise it just feels and looks sloppy. Some very outdated rules suggest that men and women are greeted differently. However, in a business setting, it should all be the same, with a handshake that is firm but not too firm and a smile. 10. Mind your table manners. You don't want to look like a pig, and you also don't want other people to end up with your soup on their face. To learn more about that, please check out our guide on table manners as well as restaurant etiquette. I'll promise you they'll make you laugh and you'll learn a thing or two. 11. Don't order alcohol first unless you're the host. That being said, if you're the host, you may offer other people a drink. If they decline to have alcohol, maybe it's wiser for you to do the same because you don't know what their projections are on you if you do drink during the day, for example. If your host orders alcohol, feel free to join in and order a glass of wine, but you don't want to get hammered midday or even in the evening during a business dinner. Now, if this is part of an interview, I'd strongly suggest you don't order wine, even if your interviewer and potential boss orders one to see if you follow suit. I suggest you just say no thank you and move on. In general, don't get drawn into drinking more than you want, and also don't push others to drink more than they want. If your glass has a stem, like a wine glass or a champagne flute, always hold the glass by a stem. 12. Now it's time to order. Do so carefully. That means don't order the most expensive dish on the menu.
Don't do it.
And if you were the guest...
I can't drink wine, but if I could, I would have just grabbed it without knowing to always hold the stem.
Don't order the most expensive thing on that menu. Especially if you're the guest.
What if you already know you're not getting the job? What if you're like, oh, I blew it? Not kidding.
I'm gonna drink and order the steak.
That means don't order the most expensive dish on the menu, and if you were the guest, you can always follow the lead of your host. Never order more courses than your host, because that may look like you're abusing their generosity. Likewise, don't order messy foods that you have to eat with your fingers. Avoid looking picky or indecisive, and if you have food allergies, check out the menu beforehand and pick out an item that you can eat so everything can be smooth and you can get right to business. Which brings us to number 13, the conversation itself, and at what point in time you can talk business without looking weird. Now, if your boss asks you out for lunch or dinner, there will likely be an agenda, and you can just take him the lead and let him decide what he wants to talk to you about. You can prepare twofold. One, you can go over all of your projects and numbers, so if he asks you questions, you seem competent and know what you're talking about right away. Two, find out the family or the hobbies or the interests of your boss and revisit older conversations you had so you can easily start and keep a conversation going. If you go out with colleagues for lunch, you may just want to talk about the project you're currently working on, or if it's a bigger project and there's a standstill, it can really help to not talk about business at all in that context. Think about it this way. A business lunch is more like a business meeting where food is served so everyone can fill up their fuel tank. Since most people have very limited time over lunch, business is discussed very quickly. Of course, a quick non-business intro and conversation is just fine. On the other hand, if you're at a formal business dinner in Europe, it is essential that you don't talk business before dessert is served. At first, it may seem counterintuitive to talk so late about business at an essentially business dinner. At the same time, anything else would be considered rude by your host or by the person who invited to it. Of course, if the other party leads the way and wants to...
I actually feel that way. Like when I'm having a business dinner, I want like a human conversation first before I just start talking about something that I have to make decisions on.
I'm probably the opposite.
Yeah, you're business.
I'm like, let's get to the point.
Travis loves to go over what the business is. I would feel if I went out to dinner and all I talked about was decisions that needed to be made, I would leave feeling sad that I didn't get to know the person. Because I feel like this is a great opportunity to like connect as human beings, and like you don't really get, like, it's not appropriate really to do that at work. So I feel like when you're at a business dinner, it's like the way to merge the two. So that's cool.
To talk about business right away, you shouldn't make them feel uncomfortable either, and just go along and talk about business. In the US, there are not such clear-cut rules, but you should never start with business right away. Do your homework, know what the other people are interested in, where they went to school, what their position is, and what they do. Most people like to share their achievements and accomplishments so you can figure out what they've done. I'm sure they like to talk about it. At the same time, it makes themselves more comfortable around you. And if you show an interest for them, they're much more likely to show an interest in you. The last thing you want to have happened is that business is all settled by the times the drinks are served and you having not done your homework. Because now there is a long dinner with likely awkward pauses that makes the other party maybe rethink the commitment they just made with you because you seem like a strange guy. As a general rule of thumb, religion, sex, or politics should never be subject of discussions at a business dinner. My father-in-law used to run his own business, and when they went on a business trip with a few people of his team to a big client in Boston, they had dinner together. Now, one of his employees said that his neighborhood was infested with Democrats, and the client took...
Hang on 1 second. All right. Had to make sure there's no background noise here. Here we go.
My father-in-law aside and said, if you'll ever bring this person again, we'll stop doing business with you right away. So he was lucky because they knew it wasn't his fault, but saying things like that is just plain stupid. Chances are they might be offended and you can only lose. Instead, stick to hobbies, interests, and of course, business. So once the meal is over, it's time for the bill. The most important aspect of paying at a business dinner is discretion. Why? Because you as the host or the guest, you never want to appear showy or screw things up. Ideally, you've taken the server to the side beforehand, maybe given him your credit card so he can just charge it and it's just a smooth transactions without any weird questions or back and forths. If the question of payment never arises, the other person can see that you can organize things and get stuff done. Now, for some reason, you can't get a hold of the waiter or it's not an option, when the bill comes, you discreetly take it and place your credit card inside of it. The worst thing you can do is pull out your wallet and put in one Benjamin Franklin after another. It's just showy and weird. Also, never argue over the bill because that's just strange. If you're the guest, just offer to pay. The host will likely say, no, I'm going to take care of it, and that's the end of the story.
Yes.
Now, if the host pays in full, you should say thank you. If you, for some reason, you split the bill, that is fine too. Now, what about tipping and servers? Tipping can hugely depend on the culture you're in, and so it pays to know in advance what to do, when and where, and what the usual amount of tip is. Also, you want to treat all servers with respect, because treating them in a mean or rude way can signal to your business partner that you have a problem with people management, and he may not want to do business with you because of the way you treat others.
Yes.
To learn more about tipping, how to treat servers, how to hold your fork properly, and how to avoid committing faux pas, please check out our table manners guide as well as our restaurant guide here. In today's video, we're wearing a typical business dinner outfit. It consists of a business suit. It's a 3-piece suit with a double-breasted vest. It is dark gray, so it's perfectly appropriate. It has a very faint stripe and works in any kind of formal office. I'm pairing it with a white shirt because, again, it's formal, with a proper necktie. It has a printed motif on it. It is red and picks up the color of the stripe in the suit. My pocket square is a white linen pocket square folded in an uneventful TV fold, which is standard for a formal business dinner. My socks are also not flashy. They match the color of the pant leg, and they have a little bit of a red clock in it, which again picks up the color of the rest of the outfit. My shoes are from Crockett & Jones. They're a monk strap shoe that's a full brook and works well with the formality scale of the suit, which is formal but has a few more casual notes such as the red color. You can find the socks, the pocket square, and the tie in our shop here. I suggest you stay clear of any kind of flashy jewelry or boutonnieres because it's over the top. The only thing you should be wearing is maybe a wedding band and cufflinks. These ones here are red carnelians in sterling silver from Fort Belvedere, and you can find them in our shop here.
Very cool.
Awesome. Burp, burp. Cool. I love that.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I really like that.
I like these videos we've been getting about ties and etiquette at dinner.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very cool. I like it. I like learning about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I also like chiming in.
I'd actually be curious as to like what is different in different cultures and countries. Like if it's like, oh, actually here you would never do this or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you enjoyed hanging out, hit like and subscribe. If you want to request your own personal reaction video, you can find that link in the description box below. Stay tuned. Stay positive.
We love you guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.